In this lesson, we're going to talk about terms, like terms, and simplifying algebraic expressions. So we're going to start very basic with what is a term. So when we're working in algebra, our terms could be something like 2x, 5y, and 7. These three terms all have different characteristics. First of all, they are all different terms. The 7 is actually called a constant term. This is called a constant term because it does not have a variable. It is 7. It represents the number 7, and it will never change because it doesn't have a variable associated with it. So it's constant, never changing. So if a term does not have a variable, if a term does not have a variable, it's called a constant. Now, the 2x and the 5y are not constant terms because they have variables associated with them. So these two terms, this means 2 times x. When there's no multiplication symbol or no addition or subtraction or division sign, when there's nothing there, it's assumed to be multiplication. So this means 2 times x. Now the 2 does have a special name. The number that you multiply by a variable is called its coefficient. So the 2 and the 5 are coefficients because they are the numbers that we multiply by the variable. So, what are like terms? We know what terms are. What are like terms? So, let's take a look at the terms 2x, 5y, 7, 3x, 9, and 2xy. So of these 6 terms, we're looking for like terms. Like terms are terms that have exactly the same variable. So the coefficients do not have to be the same, but the variables have to be exactly the same. So when I look at this list of numbers, notice that 2x and 3x have exactly the same variable. They both have 1x. So 2x and 3x are like terms because they have the same variable. So we cannot combine any other term with these because no other term has just x. 2xy is not a like term because it also contains that y. So it's not exactly the same. So let's move on to 7 and 9. 7 and 9 are also like terms. These two are like terms because they're both constants. They're both just numbers. They don't have a variable associated with them. So they are considered like terms. 5y does not have a like term because there's no other term that has just y. And the same for 2xy. There's no other term that has xy as part of its term. So like terms are only the terms that have the same variable. So let's look at one example of simplifying algebraic expressions. So for this problem, we're going to look at 9x plus 3y plus 4x plus 2y. Okay, a pretty simple expression to simplify. So if I need to simplify this expression, I'm going to first look for like terms. So I notice that 9x and 4x are like terms because they both have the variable x. Now notice when I circled 4x, I also circled the plus sign. And this is a very important rule when you are working with algebraic expressions. You want to make sure that you take the sign in front of the term with it because that sign goes with that term. So if you leave it behind, you're going to end up with the wrong answer. Another thing that I want to point out real quickly is that each of your terms is separated by a plus sign or a minus sign. So that's how you know which terms are which. They're separated by a plus or a minus. So 9x and 4x are like terms. I like to write my like terms side by side. And when I do, I'm going to take the sign in front of that term with it. So 9x plus 4x. Now I have another set of like terms. I have the 3y and the 2y. They're like terms because they both have the variable y. So I'm going to bring those down as well with the sign in front. Luckily, this is all addition, so it makes it pretty easy. Now, once my terms are written side by side, then I can go ahead and combine. 9x plus 4x is 13x. And then I'm going to combine 3y plus 2y is 5y. So the final answer is 13x plus 5y.